So, it's another installment of the Donald Marshall Show. It's my show. That's me. I don't really like making videos. It's hard to say this stuff on video, like, because it sounds so ridiculous, but I have to anyway.
I've written out everything, and it is all free, by the way, everyone.
Yeah. And
I am never selling a book, and I am never selling tickets to a lecture or something like everyone else does.
Not on medication, I'm not a junkie or nothing. I don't drink or anything. It's just all true. Just born into the wrong family, I guess. And it got out of hand. And anyway, I need people's help against them because they're the richest and most powerful people in the world. And I'm just one little poor white guy in the hood, right? There's so much stuff to tell you guys, and I'm telling it all.
And I'll try to be as comprehensive as I can. Like, I'm not a professional speaker or anything. I don't have a script or anything prepared or anything, but I'll just basically rat on the Illuminati here.
This is the biggest expose on the Illuminati guys ever, what they do secret, right? Because the thing being, how I know is because I acted very loyal to them when in my 20s, right? Well, the thing was, if you don't act compliant there, they will beat the hell out of your clone, and it hurts just like real life, right? Now, human cloning, I have to tell you, it's been done since at the end of World War II, okay? I'll tell you how they got it, and the whole shebang, like 33rd degree Freemason knowledge. I'm probably going to die for this somewhere along the lines. It's not good. Now, I'll tell you who was there. And this is how I know everything, okay? When I was 5, they brought me there to be used as what they call a diddle kid, okay?
They chose me because they wanted to use me for, to be molested by rich old people. They get all kinds of kids there. I was just one of them. I was a cute kid. There's a lot to it, though. There's a lot of factors as to why they get them there. It would take a while to tell you all of that, and that's just the psychology of a sick mind, right? I opened my eyes one day, and I was at this place. I was in, looks like a small sport venue, like a hockey rink, but instead of ice in the center, there was dirt. Hockey boards all around, and people in the stands. I didn't know how I'd gotten there. I thought that I'd been kidnapped or something, that I'd been brought there, but it wasn't even me as my real body. It was me as a clone. It's a different kind of clone, though. The clones people typically assume are what clones are. They're raised up from a baby, grown in test tube and raised up from a baby, and it's a real slow process, but that's replication cloning. They can also do duplication cloning. Now, duplication cloning forms absolutely, well, almost totally identical copy of yourself, and they can activate these things while you are in REM sleep with what they call a consciousness transfer.
They grew a copy of me there. You see, when I was 4, I had my foreskin removed because my mother says I had some kind of an infection in my foreskin. So it was removed as a common thing in the hospital, and they used that to make a copy of me.
Well, the original time I was there, I thought they were never going to allow me to escape. I'd seen their faces. They're not going to let me go. I'm going to be killed, right? And I thought that it was my real body that I was in, because it feels real. It was very clear.
You know, I grew up to the age of 4 or 5, and I didn't know what a clone was. I didn't know that people could ever do something like that. And so I wake up and I'm standing in the dirt of this arena, and I'm like, wow. I thought somebody must have chloroformed me type of thing, because I'd seen a movie, something like that, like Stranger Kidnap a Kid or something. They do that to a lot of people to scare them into thinking they've been snatched somehow and give them fear of death. Because when you don't know what it is, you think that it's your real body, and you're like, oh man, I got teleported here or something, because even your fingernails like look the same.
I'm standing in the dirt, surrounded by hockey boards. It's too small to play hockey in, but it's still got hockey boards, right? Stands, and you know, it looks like the Forum, like a small sports venue. So I'm standing there, I'm like,
where am I, right? Just like every other kid I've ever seen there saying it, right? And so they're like, what they say, you're in the Church of the Lost Lamb. They say that so much, man. It's so disgusting. The Church of the Lost Lamb, they call it, right? And they say, well, why am I here for? And they say, you're the Lost Lamb. And they play this out every day, constantly. It's so disgusting, and they make me watch it.
You know, I'm there, I'm looking around, I don't know who was around me, and they used to give me cookies and stuff to calm me down.
Some people are drugged, so they think that it's a dream, or they're in the astral realm. That's what they tell people, right? The spirit realm depends on who you are, where you're from. That's what they tell you, and people just believe it because it's like real, right? Slap them in the face, it hurts, and you don't wake up, so it's not a dream. And man, it's not good. And well, I have to tell you, Queen Elizabeth is there. Stephen Harper, Canadian Prime Minister. Obama is there. Vladimir Putin is there. The Pope is even there. All kinds of heads of different factions of different things. The head of the Mexican drug cartel is there. Mafia in Italy is there. Man, everybody is there. It's like the rich guy's crazy club that'll never get caught. And you have to be real privileged to go there. Well, I don't want to go there, and I'm not privileged there. I'm pretty low on the totem pole there, actually, probably the lowest.
You don't have to be born into it. Okay. You just have to be semi-attractive or have some kind of a skill that they want to use or steal from you. Only I was memory repressed back then. Everybody, all kids that are brought there to the cloning station are memory suppressed.
See, what happened, how it got so weird with me is they brought me there to be used, but I would scream and cry and stuff.
And they felt bad for me, which is rare because they don't feel bad for much. So then this old guy that was there, there's all kinds of Freemasons there, these Shriners and stuff that you see in the parades riding around on their little scooters and stuff. They're all a bunch of scum. Like you would think, oh, they wave to the children and they must be nice. No, they're not. No, they're all ugly and can't get a date and would have a hard time paying for a hooker. So they mess with children. It's really crazy. So anyway, I was crying and screaming, looked pathetic. And somebody said, well, kid, what else you gonna do? What else can we use you for? Do any singing or dancing? And
to keep them off, and I started singing like original songs there, just right out of the blue. Turns out the first one, people liked it, and they had a famous person use it.
And the first one that I ever did, I don't even want to mention which ones because it sounds so weird this 5-year-old did this song. Anyway, Elizabeth was there, and I sang that song Lady by Kenny Rogers for her. Kenny Rogers was a sex slave for Elizabeth, for Queen Elizabeth. He, if he ever talked about it, he would have been killed. So I sang that Lady song to her with the hockey boards in between us, and she was all awestruck, and everybody was like, wow, how did you do that? And I was like, I don't know. Can I go home now? They deactivated me. My clone fell limp. I woke up the next morning, didn't remember anything. They gave me back my memory at age 30. They call it the awakening.
I would think I didn't remember what I dreamt the night before. It would just be all black. I didn't think anything of it. I went to school. But then the next time I was at cloning, I started to figure it out because I didn't know what a clone was at like 5 and 6 years old, of course. And, well, these days with the advent of Star Wars and stuff, all the kids know what a clone is now.
It does give you side effects in real life, but you just think, you're just feeling ill that day or something. Like, they mess people up on worldwide scale because they feel really confident no one's ever going to catch them. And then a few nights after that, they brought me back.
They're like, make another song like that you did before, so I made another song.
And I can't remember which one the second one was, but it was near effortless. And they were all in awe, sitting in the stands, and I was like, okay, so maybe I'll get out of here again. And I couldn't understand how I'd gotten back here and back home again.
And then, little did I know, someone famous used the song and this other song.
And then they brought me back the next few nights and got me to keep on doing it. I did it more. I just had a good imagination and creativity for making songs, I guess. These melodies for songs.
After a time, I became this amazing song kid that could make a song out of thin air, top 10.
Then more famous people started coming to this specific cloning station I was at. and just got worse and worse, and just kept on making songs to keep the greasy old people off me, and then it just went out of control, and then they started thinking that I was some kind of freak, like some kind of link to God or something, because I come up with these songs out of thin air. They were all coming at me back then after I'd made like the first 20. Then they all started coming. Like there's numerous cloning stations, and certain people go to certain ones in different areas. Like there's like a couple for every state.
But yeah, that was the main thing, making songs, and then they wanted me to come up with concepts for movies. They wanted me to sometimes give them advice and just anything. They after the songs, they wanted to test me out, see if I was good with other things.
I didn't just do songs. I made movie concepts and everything. Toy ideas, small inventions, like nothing like technological or anything, but just little things like George Foreman grill and stuff like that. George Foreman did not invent the George Foreman grill. And yeah, I made a lot of good ideas, so they kept on bringing me back, and I'd come up with more ideas to keep them from bothering me.
Even interior home design, as absurd as that sounds. Just anything, and the main thing was songs. But
little did I know, I was sealing my doom with them, really. Like, because then they started bringing me there every single night, and all these people wanted to meet me after I made a certain amount of songs. You know, thought that I had some kind of, like, super talents. So then all the richest people around, music producers and stuff, all went there wanting songs from me, too. It's free songs. I guess somebody gets paid, not me, though. Well, I'll just tell you, Queen Elizabeth got really interested in this magic kid that could make these songs out of thin air, so she had me serenading her because she thinks she's really special. She's pretty insane, by the way, by 5 different ways. She rules this cloning station, basically, her and Vladimir Putin. What happened was, when I was 5 and I made that song, everybody loved the song, world over. They brought me back there every single night, and for a little while they thought it was amazing. And after a time, just became an expected thing. It became like a magical organic jukebox that could kick and song come out, you know?
After a few weeks, it wasn't amazing anymore. It was just common thing. Let's get a song from this freak kid, right?
But in the past, after I was making these songs, I couldn't come up with ideas sometimes. So then Elizabeth and the rest of them would start to threaten me with being harmed.
So then that worked for a little while. But then when that didn't work, then they started hurting my clone, stabbing it, punching it, everything, and just lightly at first because I was a kid, but then it got worse and worse. And then I thought of some more. Then they started to like smash me around and hurt me, and I thought of some more, and then it just got into a routine program of sing us a song or we're going to smash the hell out of you. And that's what they did, and it gives you side effects in real life, makes you sick and stuff, but they didn't care. They never paid me, never contacted me in real life or anything. They just kept on bringing me back there like a slave prisoner. The thing is, with all the songs that I made at this place, and they were bringing me back every single night and saying, sing a song or we're going to torture you. Next night, sing a song, we're going to torture you. Sometimes I couldn't think of anything, and they would just like stab me and watch me bleed there. And now they're all watching like it's a bizarre Faces of Death thing. And different people want to know what it's like to stab someone, so they send them out to stab me while I'm on drugs so I won't hit them or something. It's like that. It's very sick. Like they can cut the skin off you there, and it feels just like real. And you'll wake up the next day all sick and everything, but it really is a good motivational tool to get what you want from someone. I'm telling you, it's like real. It's clear as day. It's not like having a dream unless they drug you. If you're there, you're totally coherent, and you can't pinch yourself and wake up or slap yourself, or people would. And I don't know of a way to block this consciousness transfer to the clones. Otherwise, I would, like be in a tinfoil room or something. I don't know if there is a way to block it up. If there is, they haven't told me. And well, it worked. Eventually, I would start singing out a song. I referenced this in hints in many songs about,
getting tortured and dreams and this and that, and like hearts and souls and all this stuff. It's all like vague hints about cloning. Some of them aren't vague at all. Some of them are very obvious. And I did them all because I wanted to use them in the future. When I eventually betrayed them and came out with all of this publicly.
Well, I don't have scars on me. It's on the clones at this place, but they usually scrap the body same night anyway because it's so stabbed up. I've been through a lot there, and that's another reason why I want to expose these things.
I would recall the previous time I was there, and I got stabbed to death and died. Everything faded to black and died. But here I am again, and there's no stab wounds in this new clone. And I am not dead. There's not a scar either. So, and I didn't know how they were doing it. I thought that it was magic or something when I was that young. But then I started to realize they can only do so much to me here. Even if they were to kill me as a clone at this place, which I didn't know it was a clone, I'm like, I'm just going to live anyway, just like the last couple of times, and come back anyway. And so then I started getting a little saucy there and defiant, and they liked that. They thought that was cool. They thought I was brave. They were impressed. But
and then they came back for more, and I made more. And other people came back wanting to hear more. It was just a kid that was making these songs, right? Nobody knew, right? Totally foolproof. So anyway, lots of people, famous, high-profile people went there. I'm kind of apprehensive to say even, well, the people that know me know who I'm talking about, but they're the highest profile people go to these cloning centers, and they wanted to see this kid that was making these songs. And then they wanted to show me all the stuff that they had to impress me. They were bringing me there every night. Like, I'll just tell you, it was like a victimization joke. Like, they would torture me, basically, in many different ways, to come up with a song, some kind of a song for someone, some kind of genre of music, anything.
let's see, they started to have me in like a torture spectacle. They would like strap me up to a cross, chain me up to a poster, hang me by the arms with cables from the ceiling of this big sports venue looking place. Then they would like torture me, and they would just sit there and watch me screaming. And they were all, well, some people were into it. They were like, oh, that's cool, we're so powerful, nobody can do anything to us.
People get like aroused there in the stands at watching it, the screaming and stuff.
But then the other people that didn't actually like it, they have to play along like they do like it, or else they're going to be looked down upon by the rest, or they won't benefit by being promoted and endorsed. Or people would maybe suspect that they might try to talk or something, and then who knows what's going to happen to them. Like a good example is Chris Benoit, the wrestler. He supposedly, well, he did. He took out his wife and child and then himself. But that was all due to cloning. Like he didn't just go insane or anything. He was trying to prevent his family from going there to get tortured. He tried to tell people about it too. He's like, but he didn't know what it was. He said, okay, somehow I'm getting blapped into an alternate reality or another dimension or something, and people are killing me there, and there's aliens there, and I'm not crazy. Nobody believed him.
You don't understand. They victimized me bad there. They figured that nobody would ever know about the place, so they all feel really secure in doing whatever they want there. And they can remotely kill people from there if they have a clone of you there. They can put a constant electric charge to your clone, and it will cause you to die in real life by an aneurysm or a stroke with an aneurysm. If they mess you up sporadically, it messes up your heart, and which is what happened to me. My heart's not feeling good these days, and I'm only 37. I'm supposed to be pretty healthy, but
After I made so many songs, this is how the reason I'm not dead. After I made so many songs, they all wanted me to go there willingly, and political people started asking me advice I'm like a little kid. They're like, what would you think about this? Because they said that a little kid can think outside of a box and provide alternate options that they hadn't thought about, which I did. And it just got worse and worse, and they kept asking me more and more, make more and more songs.
This topic, as a footnote, people get angry when I mention this part. They think that I'm trying to brag. I'm not. It's actually shameful because I made a lot of money for evil people and the propagation of an alien infestation, parasiting, body snatching crisis. And I had to mention this part because it's the mainstay of why I was there, why they kept bringing me back, and why I'm still alive. It's a long story. I'll try to put it in as much of a nutshell as I can. Well, after a time, because I did it all through the 80s, like Bon Jovi, Wham, a bunch of them, but not all songs for them. Only like 2 or 3 on each album they would have. But the strange thing was, and I don't know why, maybe just because of practice, people only wanted to hear those 2 or 3 songs. They were the headliner songs. And I don't know why. So then after a time, I was a teenager. After a while, they started just using songs just from me. Like a good example is this band called the Georgia Satellites. They got a song from me called Keep Your Hands to Yourself, you know, and they were like a one-hit wonder because of that song, and that was the one song that I made for them. He even went on Much Music here in Canada, that's MTV in Canada, and he said, listen, there's a bunch of other songs on the album, why don't you listen to those too? And the radio would only play that one song. It's because of the melody. Nobody wanted to hear any of the other songs because they didn't have a stick-in-your-head melody. And I kind of know how to do that. After a time, I learned how to, do that. And it does go to a psychological level in a way. Music is hypnotic, right?
And then it's actually, by now, it's an absurd amount of songs now. They were using me for about 34 years now to come up with songs, and
they sporadically bring me there now. Like, you may have noticed, a lot of people say, there's not really much good music out these days.
Right.
That's because I don't do it anymore. I refuse to help them. Like, they put me into a drug-induced state there, and I have mumbled out a couple of songs, and people still use them, but they're stuck for songs now.
Yeah, they're saying they don't have anything good put on the radio now, and because you don't understand, they had me doing just about all of mainstream for a while. It became a religious thing after a while, and they just wanted me to make songs. They'd bring me there, and I'm like, let me guess, make you a song. They had me making songs for girls, for guys, Rihanna, Justin Timberlake, everybody. And sometimes they would put little hints and references in about me in videos and stuff. Some guy that looks like me or something.
I've been always refusing lately for the past long time, but they pre-inject me with drugs before I'm activated there.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm like all blurred and sing out something, and they use it, but it's even hard to remember now. Like, I don't do drugs in real life. I used to smoke weed every once in a while, but I can't even do that now. And, I don't do any drugs. I drink beer now, but that's about it. And I only started drinking beer. So, yeah, some people have said, oh, he's a drug addict. He's on the crack or something. But I'm not. I wouldn't have the money to pay for drugs anyway.
Some of the people don't understand how I would have ended up there, so just let me tell you about that real quick.
Well, let's see. Little did I know. Well, my dad wasn't there, but my mother was. But I didn't see her in the beginning. I was 5 years old.
Elizabeth was treating me like I was her pet dog, and My mother was all for it, and she got more attention there.
My mother was I guess, a sex slave there when she was a little kid, which was a long time ago. And but they've been doing cloning like this since 1945. First with Mark I clones, then with Mark II clones with less flaws. Now, the sex slaves they bring there, they call that Project Muffin. Like you hear about Project Bluebeam and stuff. Well, their sex slave thing is called Project Muffin. So I don't know why. And
Like, my mother sold me out to this place. Basically sold my soul to hell. She just died like 5 years ago or something. Lung cancer and stuff. But, I don't miss her.
she basically gave permission, like other families do, to let them use me. Not that they need permission. They just bring kids there on a like assembly line basis. Like any kids that are cute, they will bring them there to be used, right? And no one's the wiser. They just don't get caught because no one's going to talk about it because they fear getting cloned and tortured. Well, by the time I was hitting about 8 years old, they were saying, I don't even want to say because it's over the top ridiculous, and I don't want to even endorse this stuff that they say.
A bunch of freaks there started thinking there were religious connotations to what I was doing. They thought, some of them even said that I was being whispered these songs, melodies, and lyrics into my head from God, even though only a percentage of them even believe in God there.
And then all the religious fanatics started going weird, trying to say that I could be New Age Jesus because it's around the same time and he's amazing and this and that, looks the part.
They said it was possible that I could be the comeback Messiah for the end times to save the world. And I said, no, that's not true. I'm just a guy that's going to expose your lizards and your cloning, and you guys aren't going to bring me here anymore.
The thing is, I was memory suppressed back then. They have the ability to allow people to remember their times there or not. Now, once they allow you to remember, which is usually they let people remember at around 30, like common street level members of this, they let them remember at 30. They call it the awakening. And so then you remember this duality that you've lived, and it's very clear. And yeah, the younger people that are rich Illuminati parents' kids, sometimes they get their memories released to them when they're younger than I was.
So I was there for 25 years, and I couldn't put it together in real life. The thing was, when I was memory repressed, I was seeing other people becoming unmemory repressed, and I hated this place and these people. It's a bunch of scumbags doing nasty things to each other, right? Like, there's privileged ones there, and there's underprivileged ones there, and so people are pretty mean on people. And well, I wanted them to do the awakening on me so I could go to the cops and get the cops on them. Well, the thing is, they are the cops too. Little did I know that the police are already, some of them, the highest up ones, already attend the cloning station. They're not going to help me, they're going to snow me. So anyways, tried, failed. Like, this is the linchpin in how the Illuminati NWO works, because like most of the leaders from the G20 countries go there, about 14 of the G20 countries, and then there's leaders from countries that don't even fit in the G20 that go there too, right? And cloning, it's really normal. Well, I got all the info when they thought that I was absolutely loyal to them, okay? For years I acted loyal to them. I even had to almost give myself Stockholm Syndrome to make myself believe that I liked them.
Or they were just going to leave me memory repressed about it, and I'd never be able to seek help.
Because my family members were there, and they can give you sodium pentothal truth serum to see into your clone, to see if you will talk about them, if you're unmemory repressed or unrepressed memory, and you'll be able to remember all the clone stuff.
They can scan your head to see if you, kind of like a lie detector type of thing, scan your head, see if you're deceptive or whatever.
But once you're unrepressed memory, you always remember everything. They can't keep your memory away from you then when they bring you there.
Every time they activate you, you will remember it the next day. And it's not like remembering a dream, and it's not like feeling like a dream. It's just normal as normal. They can give you an injection to make you feel fuzzy, so it'll feel like a dream, but it's just normal. You're walking around, you slap yourself in the face. It's just normal. It's crazy.
So they only unrepress people that are real ironclad loyal. It also makes you smarter as a clone when you are unrepressed memory. So they wanted me to be unrepressed memory so I could think up better lyrics for songs, because they've given me adrenaline injections there. Like, I've never had that in real life, but they feel really good. They're adrenaline injections. And I've never done cocaine in real life, but they made me do cocaine there so I could do speed rappy stuff, because like Busta Rhymes type of stuff. 'Cause you can't do that like just off the bat, but that stuff really speeds you up. It actually gave my clone a heart attack a couple times. But yeah, they're all like, we're so powerful, we're going to get caught doing this, no one's ever going to believe anyone. But that's because everyone else only had half of the story. After years of playing friends with them, they told me everything. They manually, with the push of a button, allow you to remember. And so I remembered it all. They had to tell me gradually so I didn't have a heart attack. Because they wanted to be really cool with me. They wanted me to like them because I made their favorite song, like the Top Gun theme song. Made that, right? When I'm there. And they're all the politicians want to be cool with me because the celebrities think that I'm amazing and stuff. And they think I'm amazing too, right? Coming up with a song out of thin air like that. I put a bunch of references in songs. Other people have in the past too, like back in the 80s, this band called Heart made this song called Dreams. These dreams go on when I close my eyes type. And it's talking about the cloning station when you're a clone there. But they tell people that it's the other dimension or astral plane, so that if they ever go to the police, they'll say, "Oh, I'm going to the other dimension," and then that's not true, right? You want us to police another dimension, right? But it's not another dimension or the astral plane. It's just the cloning station with your clone pre-injected with drugs.
Phil Race is like the boogeyman. He's the person that they use. One of them. He's like Mr. Gross. He's the boogeyman to all the kids there that puts the fear into the kids, right? And sometimes the kids' parents are there with them. It messes them up bad. There's all kinds of side effects. He's terrible.
Where is he?
He's down at the emergency room hospital in Halifax. He lives in Halifax somewhere. This guy's been chasing me around this place since I was 5 years old. Well, maybe 6 years old. But he's pretty retarded. Well, he never comes up to me in real life. I mean, I wanted to go down and get him a few times, but then I'm going to be in a jail cell if I do that. Okay, you get a group of kids, right? And there's always one kid in the crowd that's like the alpha male or something, and he's the coolest kid of the group, right? And he's defiant, and he's not going to be molested, and he's not going to get hurt. And everybody else is rallying to him, right? And these kids are gaining confidence from this other kid, right? They'll get that kid, and they'll hurt him bad, or they'll get some kind of acid. I think it's carbolic acid, and they'll turn the kid's pain sensors off, right? I don't know how they do this.
Let's see the finer points. REM cloning. When you go to sleep, you get zapped. When you enter REM sleep, you get transferred your consciousness into a clone. You don't have dreams anymore. Britney Spears, none of them have dreams anymore. They just have clone time where they walk around and talk a little bit dumber than they normally would be.
Some of the celebrities make songs. I've made songs for them there about not having dreams anymore, and your dreams are lost, and blah blah blah. Your heart this, heart that. Like, I made a lot of songs there.
It's all very clear. It's not like a dream. It's very clear. You slap yourself in the face, you won't wake up though. And then they can just blink you right into the next one. Do it again.
They make multiples of people. Some people are grown in the tank with deformities, and they just scrap those ones, throw them in the chipper. But the other ones, they keep them for backup bodies until they wear out the first one. Sex-wise, I'm not trying to be vulgar or anything, but they do a lot of vulgar stuff there. And people are scared to talk about this because of the lizard aspect and the fact they can just keep cloning you and torturing you and torturing you and torturing you. New body, new body, new body.
I remember. They got this thing, if they really hate someone, it's like the band name of the same name, Megadeth. They can do something. It's another deterrent for even brave people, you know? And it's like, I guess, going to hell, basically. They can bring you back to life after you're dead, have you reactivated into clone after clone, and just killed one after the other. Like, and there's no waking up and in your bed the next day because you don't have an anchor body anymore. You just keep going one after the other, getting killed and killed and killed. Even though in the past when they have tried to do this to someone, they get bored of it after a time, right? And you know, the person's screaming and stuff, and it's just the same thing over and over again. So then eventually they stop, but they make people watch sometimes to use that as a deterrent. And the thing is, some of them get angry at cloning, like sometimes the very same night. I'll open up my eyes there, I'll be down in the dirt arena, or I'll be sitting in the stands, and they'll just start talking. Like, I've met Dave Mustaine there. He knows all about cloning. He's been there, right in my face. He's actually beat me up there, stabbed me and everything there. But yeah, they never bother me. They don't want to come back and say anything, because then they'll have to open up the entire can of worms.
Right.
Nobody wants to do that. They actually avoid me like the plague. And no one's going to sue me or have me charged for slander or libel or anything like that, because they know it'll come back on them later.
My Facebook profile picture, okay, just look at it and you're gonna say, okay, something weird is happening here. I'm on a Megadeth album cover, all cut up. It's like a picture of a clone of me, all messed up with a skeleton coming out of my chest and Megadeth up at the top. Well, anyway, it's a close-up of my face, and people look at that and they say, okay, now I got to look into this.
Megadeth, the world needs a hero. See, I was crying at Ckloning. I think I was 23 then, and I'd helped him make a bunch of songs for that album and many others. Some better than others, but I was like, I never get anything. I don't get paid, you guys, and I was memory suppressed back then. But I was just trying to get some kind of evidence or hint even more. So I was like, can you at least put my face on the album or something? I don't get anything, no recognition. I don't get paid. Do something for me. They were like, okay, we'll do that. So then they put me on this cover all bloody and stuff. And I haven't aged that much. That was when I was 23. I'm 40 now. But I haven't aged that much. I still pretty much look the same. But people have to look at that and then look at pictures of me, because it's obviously me. People just have to look at it.
But that was actually taken at the cloning center. Like, during this time, for this picture, well, at Ckloning, I have ended up looking like that countless times. But for that picture, for some reason, they wanted to take a picture of it with the camera, and then whoever made that picture, painted it, or rendered it with computers, he had to look at that picture and then go off of that, because I'd asked them to put my face on albums before, and they always said, no, we can't, you know, that would be proof. And I always put little hints in the songs, in lyrics and stuff, wherever I could, and sometimes they would allow it, sometimes they wouldn't, but there's a lot of hints in songs about, you know, dreams and this and that.
I never asked them to promote them. They demanded that I make them songs. I asked them to put me on the cover because I wanted it for the future, in case I could ever get unrepressed memory of the thing.
Well, I kept quiet for a while because they told me that they could clone me after death and torture me into the next century. And I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to be friends with them, and so that didn't happen, because that's fate worse than death, right? But then I found out you can't clone after death in this method. You still need the REM from the main person that's your anchor on Earth. It's how it's done. I'm the anchor. I'm the anchor right now. So anyway, it was Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. Dave Mustaine. You know what that rotten bastard did to me, man? He comes in and they all do these weird things to you, right? They all come in, they're all trying to look good for everybody else that's there, right? Yeah. They get you in one of the side rooms from concourse, and they have the camera in the corner of the room, right? And the rest of them are sitting out there in the big auditorium, right? And they're watching on the big screen. They got a big screen on the big wide side, and a big screen on the wide side. Two of them, right? And they're all just sitting there watching, right? Oh my God. And then Dave Mustaine's like, Yeah, so when he actually stood up for me. He goes, when you send that letter out, send out a picture of the album cover and send out a picture of your own face. Right? And he was crying because they were talking about killing me, right?
Yeah.
And I said, what do you care? And he goes, I don't want you to die. I think you're awesome, man. Yeah, okay.
Wow.
And but he's done some pretty mean stuff to me. They get out there and they can literally have you chained up. They cut an incision in your nutsack, pull your nuts out, and they're hanging by cords, right? They put them in their hand and it burns because the hand oil, right? Oh my God!
Yep.
I couldn't exaggerate on this at all. It's so bad I couldn't make it worse, right? Oh, they're all mad at Megadeth now because well, I've only ever seen the lead singer there. I've only ever dealt with him,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes these bands, it's not even the band members that even go there. It's the songwriter that goes there, and then they say they wrote the song and give it to them, right?
Yeah.
And they have no way of knowing, right? But a lot of the time it is the celebrities.
Like that was like a joke on me. It's not like an honor to be on that cover. They put me on there all cut up like they slashed me all up as a clone, like, and I'm dead in the arena there. I don't know. It's not a cool thing anyway. They don't like me.
Well, I knew from what they were telling me and from what they showed me, because I made them prove everything to me. And I never ever assume or guess or have theories of my own, because if I'm ever wrong, it's not going to be good. So I only ever really mention things that I know for certain are true. Because, if it was ever wrong, it'd be a recipe for disaster with what I'm trying to do here, which is all good. My intentions are pure. Like, as you said, I'm not looking for financial gain or even fame.
The way that this cloning works, okay, there's two different kinds of cloning and it confuses people. Now there's replication cloning where it comes up as a baby, right? Put the cells in, make the same person as a baby. Well, there's duplication cloning as well, where they grow you in a big thick tank full of water. Britney Spears put them in her video for Break the Ice, where she goes in and destroys a cloning station where they're all growing clones of her. She said it's a fantasy of hers, and they just let her do it. It's a Japanimation cartoon. Anyway, people should take a look at that, because that's what the cloning tubes look just like. It grows a fully formed duplicate of you within 5 months. And, well, there's a few different grades of cloning. There's Mark 1 to 4 that I know of. It's even on the internet. I was overjoyed when I came to the internet to try to tell people about this, because I wasn't into looking at pages or researching what this person, that person said. I came on and I heard that they were already talking about certain marks of clones, and I was like, oh, this is going to be so much easier now. The Mark 1 original clones they made in 1945, they were called the organic robotoids, and I don't know why they called them that, because there's no robotic parts in them, unless they had like a chip in the head or in the body or something.
But they don't use them anymore because they're so primitive.
Okay.
They got more side effects. You're more confused when you're a Mark 1. And they're REM driven as well. They're primitive though. They come up like messed up looking sometimes, so they don't use them anymore. They just use the Mark 2s.
Then the number 2 REM driven ones are what they use all the time that I'm having problems with. But then the Mark 3 ones are like all the time clones. Mark 3 and 4, they're up all the time. They're better quality clones. The Mark 2 ones don't like live very long. Mark 2 and 3, I guess, like they degrade over a short amount of time. Like their skin gets rashy.
I don't know a lot about the higher up clones because I'm usually just the Mark 2 kind. But the Mark 3 is a run around all the time clone, like no REM needed. They can, well, there's 2 different ways. They can have it run around as a set consciousness, or they can do a duality thing where, like, it's weird. It's, you have to, in real life, you'd have to do absolutely nothing, like, and totally concentrate on walking and talking around as this clone. You get like a weird, like a double vision type of thing. You gotta close your eyes and concentrate. They don't go so good. Like, and Mark 4 is supposed to be like top of the line. I don't even know that much about them. Hillary Clinton got caught on camera in her Mark 4 in 2 different places in the country on purpose. on purpose. She actually got in trouble at the cloning station because they were like, you were seen on camera on purpose and you're double. And she was like, no, it was an accident, but she just wanted it discovered. They all want it discovered so that they can get away. It is very confusing, and they're always upping the technology to hide everything, right? So I'm not sure if these walk around all the time clones require a chip implant. I'm pretty sure that they do, though, unless they got past that. Uh, like, they're always upping the technology.
They used to have to use a tissue sample from you, or I guess they said the cells from a woman's pap smear is like really rich in the cells to make one of these duplicate clones. Something about a somatic cell transfer, I'm not sure because I wasn't listening there. They tell me a lot of BS there too, right? So I don't want to be there, so I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And I never really like get into much conversations with them. I usually just start attacking people because I keep telling them I don't want to go there. They used to use kids' foreskins that were discarded at the hospital that got removed. That's what happened to me. But now they said they've upgraded the technology in the last 10 years, so now they only need blood.
And they own the Red Cross. So, like, don't donate blood. You don't want to.
What they used to do with the tissue, well, they could also, they used to set this little oil drill looking thing over a person's forearm, strap their arm to a chair. And this drill, it had things on it that opened up, right? Now, it would go in, and when it spun, these things would open up. But then when it stopped, the things would close again. Now, this is done, it goes in, comes out, in, comes out. And what it was doing, it has to agitate the tissue, they told me when I was a kid, to a certain degree.
It's like they told me themselves the best way to explain it is you have a hangnail on your finger. You pull that hangnail off, and a clear liquid inside starts to form, and then eventually new skin over it, might scab over or something, right? And then new skin and everything. That's white blood cells, right? The healing part. Well, when they get the piece of tissue in the past and agitate it a certain amount of times, they put it in this other liquid, like petri dish, and it just sets to healing and healing and healing and healing. And after a time, after they monitor it, it can make an entirely another person. But they have to manipulate it a bit, make sure that the bones are going to go straight and stuff. I'm not sure of it. I'm not like a biologist or anything, but it's not like it's not as complicated as people would think. They said it's very simple, actually. It doesn't even cost that much, just the maintenance, because it just grows by itself, you know.
The thing is, whenever you get the sample from someone, you can clone them at that age. Like it's, I don't know how, but I guess your blood knows how old you are. And to get a blood sample or tissue sample of you, they just make you. And it's the same age as when they got it, the sample. So, yeah, it's like last I heard. I heard it's faster now.
Well, I don't know for Mark IV and stuff, but the Mark II clones, they only take 5 months to grow. And it doesn't even cost that much. It's just, they set it to growing. I'll tell you, it sounds like really odd. It's
$30 worth of stuff, like test tubes and stuff. Because your white blood cells just keep on multiplying and it just grows.
And then they have to have someone maintain the tank and change it to different size tanks as it grows.
And makes the duplicate, fully grown adult they can make of you. It's disgusting. I've seen the tanks and everything. It's gross. It's like they have to turn the bodies every once in a while, like in the tank, like the Britney Spears tank looking thing there. They got to turn them feet side up, and then they got to turn them head side up and clean up the tanks and all that.
Clones are not as good as our real cells. Like, you can't even use the organs for transplant. They're just not viable.
There's a really good clone out now. They never told me about it very much. They just call it a double. And it's supposed to be just like a person, but yeah, I don't know a lot about it because they never told me a lot. But the Mark II ones, they don't last. They have to get like new bodies like every I heard it was like every year, but I guess it's like every 2 years, and some people last longer, but their brain capacity like degrades.
After about 6 months to a year, you have to have like a replacement clone. They start getting rashy, and they degrade mentally. Like Eminem went on a couple videos acting ridiculous, right? He did it intentionally as a memory or a mind degraded clone, and people thought it was funny.
And he was like slurred speech, like he had low blood sugar or something. That's what they go like when they need a new clone. And they'll say that they went to rehab. Like they'll go in looking all messed up, and they'll come out like 2 months, 3 months later, and they'll look like more beefy and skin color a little different. And they're like, oh, he just ate well in rehab. No, you know what it is. Whenever I'm there, I'm in like a fresh clone, and usually end up getting smashed up or something, and they'll just throw the old clone in like this big chipper, like big, looks like a big garbage disposal, and they just chuck them in there, and they get ground up and go down somewhere down pipes.
They have like a wood chipper there they throw clones into. In fact, they make all kinds of duplicates of you, so that when they're all done, if any of them have any warps or like malformations, they can just scrap them and throw them in the chipper. And it's just really, really overdone.
And then they figured out how to put the consciousness into the clone. Man, it's really far out tech that they got. You wouldn't think they'd have this for like another 500 years.
Well, how it works, it's not on all the time. It's called REM Mark II cloning. Now, the Illuminati, this is their main form of communication too. They don't call people on the phone. They don't meet at the Bohemian Grove anymore. Since they got cloning, they meet at the cloning station when they go to sleep. Each of them, I don't know how they do it exactly, okay, or else I'd know how to block it. But they can transfer your consciousness into a clone at the cloning station if they have a clone of you.
They have to have one of you to zap you into it. Everyone else in the world that's sleeping at the time has the option of having people activate them while they're there. They can only put you into one of these clones when you're fully into REM sleep, which happens like after about an hour and a half after you fall asleep. You go into REM sleep. If they activate you before that, you'll be all disoriented and you go psycho and stuff. But yeah, so when you're in REM sleep, they can just bring you there. I tried to do the alarm clock thing, but when you wake up and you go back to sleep again, you just go right back into REM real fast. That's how it works. It's rapid eye movement, stage of sleep. That's how they do it. They call it a consciousness transfer.
I don't know how they do it, if they have to have an implant in you, but they showed me how it's done when I pretended to be friends with them for a year. And really convincingly, a green light comes on a machine on a table right next to the body, and they have racks underneath of the forum place.
The racks are like multiple stainless steel bunk beds, sometimes 5 high. And they're all around. It's like a giant vampire crypt or something. There's all these bodies laying there.
Wow.
Well, I don't even know how the things live, because they even when not in use, they still breathe shallow and the heart still beats and stuff. Now, when not in use, they put a tube down the clone's throat, a feeding tube, and you get fed this beige nutritional supplement, right? And when they come out, when they wake up and stuff, like when I've opened up my eyes there, they've already done it for me, and sometimes I'm clothed and already out somewhere, sitting somewhere, and then they activate me. But what they do on the rack, there's like a bunch of lights, and if the light is green, it means that this person is in full REM sleep right now and can be activated.
I don't know how they got it so nailed down. You know how they say that the brain is so big, it'll be so long before they figure it all out, right? No, they figured it all out. They have nothing left to learn. Nothing. They have it so down, they can make people do anything.
So they go over, just like with it like a TV remote control looking thing, look over and they point at him and press a button. Usually they have one designated to just that person, you know, tuned in on just them. And then the person just goes, looks around, and like me, I say, "Ah, damn, I'm in this place again." But some of them are so used to it, and some of them like going there and hanging around there. They're so used to it, they pull this transparent tube right out of their mouth, and they hop off the bunk, and they're like, "So, what are we doing tonight?" And then they walk out. They're naked too. Sometimes they don't even care. Not bashful. They have no shame really at all. But they're depending on me to do as much as I can to expose this and put an end to it.
Right.
Because I'm like one of the only ones in the world, maybe the only one in the world, that they won't outright kill. Because I've done so much stuff. Like you must assume he means a lot of songs, right? But it's actually 10 times more than what you even are thinking. It was a ridiculous amount of songs. And other things too, like just ideas for movies, concepts, and toy ideas, video game ideas, designs for different things. Man, so much stuff that if I even said all, it would sound absurd.
And the thing is, they can have multiple clones of you, right? Now, they got chips in these clones too, so they turn you into the next clone, like, within a matter of, like, 30 seconds. Like, deactivate one clone and go over to this one and click it on. And I've experienced it. It's, everything goes black.
They do this, like, a lot. Like, it's pretty commonplace for them. It's just it's just what they do. All the rich people and celebrities do this. And they open up their eyes, walk around. Me too. And you sit up, you're a little disoriented at first, but it's kind of like the Avatar movie. But like the people that did the Avatar movie know all about cloning and stuff. The whole thing is basically based on cloning.
Even before Avatar came out, like, I was telling people about this stuff.
They just give up their ability to have dreams and nightmares, and they just blink their eyes, and when they go to sleep, an hour or an hour and a half into going to sleep, they just open up their eyes at the cloning center. And they get up and walk around there talking with everybody again, just like they did the night before and the night before that.
Well, they do that a lot, not even just with Hollywood. They clone people and get their passwords and stuff and their business ideas under torture. And the person the next day won't remember what happened at all, just will think they didn't have a dream last night, and they feel sick the next day. They have no recall of it at all unless they want them to. And yeah, but I'm telling all about it. Like some of the things I've seen done there, man, wow.
People are being consciousness transferred into clones and getting messed up and killed remotely. Remote murder, it's easy. Untraceable.
Well, they can be killed in conventional ways, or they can be remotely killed from manipulating their clone bodies remotely.
They'll give you an aneurysm. If they apply a constant state of pain to your clone, you'll die in real life. Either that night or the next day you'll have a brain bleed, aneurysm, stroke thing.
Or they can even just be rendered mentally impaired after a time, also by messing with their clones in ways. And it's been done with different people.
They started doing it around 1944 or 45, and it was all politicians. But then they got bored of that. Like, they were thinking they would keep the whole world in line and everything under the threat of clone torture.
I'm not sure if a chip is necessary. They tell me I have chips from when I went in to have an appendectomy, have my appendix out. They said they chipped me then. They said they chipped me when I was a little kid, having my tonsils out. Oh, when you wake up, your clone goes limp and drops. They usually keep all of them sitting in the stands, watching whatever's going on down in the main circle. Like, people run around doing stuff down there, and they have tortured me on a rack down there while people watched and stuff. I'm screaming and stuff there. It's pretty sick. Yeah, so they keep them in a seated position because in case, like, say Gwen Stefani wakes up in real life down in Beverly Hills, wherever she lives, her clone will drop to the floor, and if she hits her elbow or her head off the floor, she can't use that clone the next night because she probably broke her arm or cracked her head.
So they keep them in a seated position, and when they wake up, they slump forward and go, "Meh," like sometimes make noises, and the person next to them, just real commonplace, just reaches out and holds them up, and then a person comes over and drags them off.
They have it pretty down now. They get dragged out of the auditorium and taken below on a dolly, or just somebody throws somebody over their shoulder and takes them down to the racks.
To be stored until the next night on racks underneath. Stainless steel racks, 5 high, like bunk beds, and they just lump them on there till the next night. They put a feeding tube down their throat, and they're totally comatose till they get reactivated the next night when they're in REM stage, full REM stage.
Well, I haven't gone to the other floors often. The cloning floor pretty much has like 2 levels to it. The arena, there's usually just one arena. That's in the cloning level. Underneath the cloning level is the growing rooms where all the tanks are. Cloning tubes, 2 by 2. And they're all growing bodies, different stages of development.
How can you tell if they're clones? They will go to great lengths to cover it up. You'd have to put their cells under a microscope, unless you're looking at their behavior.
Like Mark IIs look basically normal, like the eye wrinkles around your eyes will look different. Like one of the things I used to actually like to do, they used to let me do there, I'd go into the concourse and go to the bathroom at the cloning place and look in the mirror at myself.
And like pull the skin underneath my eye and looking at it because it's slightly different. Your nose is slightly different, and your jawline sometimes slightly different because you know your own face. It's the same voice. Like, it's a little bit better because the clone has never smoked before. So it's like a new throat. You can sing better and everything. I smoked my whole life, so it's a little scratchy now. But the thing is, when they slam your consciousness into a clone that isn't the same age as you, or that isn't like the same kind of body type as you, it's more confusing to walk around. And some people can't do anything. They start pulling out their hair and fall on the ground and roll around. So they always keep it like a recent clone. They like to use recent clones of themselves because they act less loopy. Not my real body, but they can actually transfer the consciousness into a clone body of me and walk around temporarily out there. But they'll be dizzy as hell because they're not me, and their system isn't the same. They did it to me too. You feel sick, dizzy. You don't know which way is up sometimes if it's really off, but then you talk and it's a different voice and everything. Man, it's sick. Like they thought they were doing me a favor by showing me what it feels like to be a girl for a second. No, thank you. No, thank you. Terrible.
Yeah,
terrible. The plumbing's terrible, and the whole episode was unpleasant. And they put me into a little kid body of myself again. I was all uncoordinated, trying to run up the side stairs of the cloning center, and but my legs were short, and I tripped and smashed my arm off the concrete steps because I was running around really fast, all excited. More dizzy though, and more loopy.
Cloning is a flawed technology this way because your mind isn't the same.
You see, all the clones are dumber. Nobody's clone is as smart as their real anchor person. They call it an anchor in the world that you draw the consciousness from while they're in REM sleep. Now, everyone at cloning is a little dumb, me included, to a certain degree. And some of them would be so immature, they'd tell me they could do something with a really wacky technology. And I'd say, I don't believe you. No, I don't believe you. And they go, oh yeah? We'll show you. And they did. They would. They showed me all kinds every time, and then they would show me and I'd say, wow, that is amazing. And they said, yeah, we told you it's real. Like a little kid, you know? So weird. The whole place is weird. But yeah, it's pretty really scary horror movie stuff there.
They laughed at me when I said I was going to tell the world about this. They said, nobody's ever going to believe me. You won't put it together in a eloquent way. People will think that technology isn't that advanced yet with cloning because they just clone the sheep, right? No. They've been cloning people a long time this way.
They have a really weird psychology. Well, people say the clones don't have a soul and stuff. I mean, and they don't have feelings and stuff.
As one of these temporary REM activated ones, you're more emotional than you are in real life. Like, your feelings get hurt way easier, and you do a whole lot more crying and stuff, and
it's just like the clone is using your soul, but it's flawed at the time. It's like that. They call it consciousness, not soul. But, yeah, they really fly off the deep end. Like, the REM-driven kind, everybody's pretty loopy when you're an REM-driven clone. And it's a side effect that nobody can block, right?
They're actually talking. They were, because people were saying they were concerned that they might want to leave if they're getting damaged from being clones, right, going in our REM. Because people, when they go there for too long, they start to turn squirrely.
well, these duplication clones can't walk around in public without what they call a handler. They have to be babysat so that they don't bite someone on the face or start a fire in a house, or they go with the first impulse. And yeah, cloning is very prevalent. It's like a secret thing among the elite. They use it for their crazy stuff. You name it, they've done it. Like jump off cliffs, everything.